over it, and here she is.
There is one, Tim, there was one or two rarer ones, rarer engine ones. 125th we were pushing our luck. But he hasn't. He likes being the wind mate. Most of his turning into the wind. Look where the wind's coming from. He comes along, he's got a full of wind. Come out here. About 400. I'm going that way. Yeah. About 10 foot, 20 foot behind him, then the century of moisture off the back of it.
If you walk round to the right of the display line, carry on around the curve, you'll come to them as the Fury comes into display. The Hawker Fury, British biplane, well you can see that, used by the Royal Air Force in the 1930s. Fast, agile aircraft, first interceptor for the Royal Air Force with a speed of more than 200 miles an hour in level flight. Agile little beast. First flight was in March 31, entered service in May the same year. Only, obviously developed by Hawker's famous designer, Sidney Cam. So Sidney Cam, also responsible for the Hurricane, the Hunter, the Typhoon, not the current one, the previous one. $520 little horses up the front, 525 horsepower Kestrel engine by Rolls-Royce. Hurrah! As I say, top speed over 200 miles an hour, range of 270 nautical miles, which is what, about 300 in real language. Service ceiling up at a very, very cold altitude of 28,000 feet. That is impressive. Bear in mind there's a little biplane built in the 30s. Got a couple of 303 machine guns stuffed in the front. Fury really provided the basis of the aircraft that came after him, which has come before him in the display, of course that of the Hurricane, positioning for his last pass now before he too also clears off Baxter Duxford.
Certainly noisy. Here we have the North American NA-64 Yale. Some might say this looks very, very similar to the Harvard. Correct. Some of you might be wondering what that heck of a noise is. When it
I am.
It's a pretty amazing aircraft.
Because of the middle of the sentence. So one of them's got a mag drop. We've got 2 mags per engine and 2 cylinders. When one of them doesn't work, you get less power from the cylinder, less power from the Tiger, and so they're going to have a rebrief and decide what they're going to do. So, having been interrupted by my technical operator, and I totally ignored him because he talks to me when I'm talking to you, which is rude, I shall now close the mics on you, ladies and gentlemen, talk to this wazzo. So, quick brief. We're going to put one tiger moth up while the others rebrief, and we sort that out. So we're going to get aerobatics from a solo tiger. The yak is also taxiing out, the yak 50. Yale is back down to taxi back down to his parking slot just behind the Hurricane. This crowd line, by the way, is not just the way, well, I was going to say the way you're looking, but of course I don't know which way you're looking. It does curve all the way round to the right, and there's quite a lot down to the right. This is why we've got the curved display. This looks like one with just a tail skid. So taxiing, crosswind, downwind, does make it interesting. A tiger moth is an easy aeroplane to fly, but it's a difficult aeroplane to fly well. And indeed, the old Tiger Club aircraft that were based down at Red Hill, Norman Jones, who was the creator really with a bunch of other idiots at Croydon Airfield many, many years ago when they created a Tiger Club, they put a sticker inside saying, "My Tiger Moth flying." I thought, yes, you have to be awake all the time flying a Tiger Moth, as of course you would in any aircraft. I think the briefing said he's going to go and hold down to the south, clashing away, completely different type of engine. So he's going to hold, then he's going to come back in, and then we're going to get the Tiger Moth. And I'm delighted.
Presumably small tigers, I can see them still on the white line. I certainly have made a judgment for myself to say it is far too sporting. Slightly late aircraft, being blown up and down in the wind, and the pilot aircraft alone is relatively easy to do so. There's Robin Russell, former fighter pilot, getting airborne in this very sporting wind. A lot of heavy crosswind here, and in fact all aircraft taking part in this are having to contend with this throughout. 650 are still in flying condition around the world. Pulling up for a loop. And in fact, it's going to be a half Cuban. He's rolling from the top of the loop. And pulling up again. I think he's going to make this a full Cuban 8. Nope, he's doing a stall turn to the right again. I did say he's going to make this up as he went along, but wonderful having a display right in front of the crowd. Notice how the loop isn't completely round, it has to be shortened at the top. That's because the engine will cut out if it pulls any negative G. He really is throwing this around in a remarkable way for an aircraft that is a trainer and therefore inherently stable. And intriguingly, to this very day, the Royal Air Force includes aerobatics in its flying training syllabus from a very early stage, both to test the capabilities of the pilot and for the pilot to experience the full envelope of control of the aircraft. Barrel roll, very difficult in the Tiger Moth, beautifully done. Actually equipped 20 of them for the Persian army, equipped with single Vickers-style machine guns, firing with interrupter gear through the propeller, used for counter-insurgency purposes. And indeed, had the Tiger Moth been around during the First World War, because its technology is basically First World War technology, it would have been a very capable fighter. They also equipped 350 Tiger Moths when it looked like Hitler was likely to invade the United Kingdom. They equipped them with 8 20-pound bombs, but they were never used in anger. The eagle-eyed of you will notice that Robin, who is flying this from the rear of the two cockpits, and indeed is always solo flown from the rear, so that the pilot counterbalances the weight of the engine. So light is the aircraft. And the instructor and the fuel tank are located pretty much over the center of gravity. Also notice a lot of silver on this aircraft, on the wings, tail and fin. And that's because they put, these aircraft are made of wood, covered in Irish linen, and tightened and sealed with dope. And they put aluminium powder into the dope to protect it from the rays of the sun that would degrade the fabric. Coming in from the right at high speed, no it's not, it's showing how slow this aircraft can fly. The stall speed is 43 miles an hour. The wind today is something like 25 miles an hour, and this is more kite than aeroplane. A wonderful demonstration, just hanging nibbling on the stall. Well, that was a very spirited display by Robin in somewhat challenging conditions. And we now have a gap which allows me to tell you a little team was formed in 2005 and is the display team of the de Havilland Moth Club, which is the club dedicated to the maintenance and flying of these wonderful vintage aircraft. These are all between 80 and 90 years old. And one question I get asked a lot is, are these replicas? And the answer is, no, this is the real thing. And off to the right, a beautiful landing by Robin Russell. You can see how he dipped his left wing. Beautifully done. Yeah, back to the silver coloured aircraft in front of you. Anything you can see that isn't coloured silver is actually painted on top of the silver. Now, one of the aircraft, that one with the sort of rhubarb and custard colour scheme, is the Moth Major, which has straight wings as opposed to the swept wings you can see on the Tiger Moth. And that, I think, will conclude our talk about the Tiger Moth. Hanging back for the main show.
Thank you, Tim, and having flown Tiger Moths, that landing was absolutely spot on. Yeah, I've been in that situation myself. That was absolutely brilliant. I don't think many people appreciate that skill of a Tiger Moth landing in that wind, so please do congratulate him, and I'll give you everyone to join him. Yak 50 should be running in, just been given clearance to do so by air traffic. Well, when I say air traffic, I mean Yak 50 just coming in with smoke. Completely different type of display. Yak 50, well, big, strong, all-metal, single-seat aerobatic aircraft, fabric-covered control surfaces. That's to save weight. Actually, the Yak 50 not equipped with flaps, which is a bit unusual for an aircraft like this. It's great handling characteristics enhanced by a relatively high power-to-weight ratio. That clattering radial engine at the front, 9-cylinder air-cooled radial engine, 450 odd horsepower, Russian horses. Just had one of the team talking Russian up here, so I went near him with the microphone. He nearly jumped off the side. It's tough but agile in this aircraft. Actually, it's won 2 aerobatic competitions. Well, actually, I think it was the pilot who did it using this aircraft. I remember we had them in Kiev in 1976, and we had the World Aeros over there. Only about 90 examples still airworthy. I say it's tough. Plus 9G, minus 6, 9 times force of charity. So if you're holding a pint of beer at the moment, you went to 8G, that'd be holding a gallon of beer, which is a marvellous thought, but it's too heavy to hold. Going round the outside, beginning of a loop, over the top, not putting a flick on down, so completing a loop. If he had stopped halfway down on the 45 degree, that was a half Cuban, but this is a standard loop. I haven't got his sequence. Check on the 45 degree, half roll, round the half Cuban. And if he comes down to the other end and he pulls up again, which he's not going to do, he's going round onto the other axis. It would be nice to have his sequence, but we can't have everything. It is supposed to be smoky. He's got a smoke system in the aircraft. Indeed, when he comes back and land, we park in the public area, you'll be able to see the good visibility from that cockpit. Oh, how about that tumble, tumble, tumble flick over the nose. Smoke filling up the cockpit. Then half roll down on the 45 degree. Now that half roll should be halfway up, halfway down of the maximum altitude and the lowest altitude you do to get a good score. Where's this one based, team? Okay, blank looks all around me. See how the smoke is being taken downwind. The wind is getting a bit stronger as we're going on, so I don't know what the Tiger team are going to be doing. They're having a rebrief about what they can do for the brakes, I think. It's a good display line here at Gransden. In fact, you can get that lovely, lovely curve going round. Which of course, if the Flying Control Committee is listening, I was. He's going back to Duxford, then he's going to jump into the Stearman and go over to Falmere, and then he's going to go back to get, well, I don't know what he's doing, but he's flying 2 or 3 aircraft here. This is the runway and the taxiways here is absolutely superb. I wish many grass airfields around the UK had it in this condition. It's got good range, capacity of 4 people, along with a reasonable cargo payload. Light on the controls and perfectly harmonised in all axes of flight. So it attracted into the civil market as well as the military market. The United States Army.
See one of the things beginning to see. I've just seen, I was just seen Greg in the picture. I said, oh man, there's Greg in Australia. Come on, start singing. Right, yeah, you ain't half on that.
Now, the States Army requested that the Air Force place an order for military version of the Navion, and 83 of the aircraft were ordered in 47. Now, of course, naturally, the military changed the designations, and it was changed to the L-17. Faced with the demand for the Sabres that were coming along at the same time, North American sold the Navion design and tooling in July 47, along with about 60 not completed aircraft, to Ryan Aeronauticals. They, of course, made that aircraft, the very famous aircraft, the Spirit of St. Louis, as well as things like the P-22, the Recruit. I think some years ago we had a PT-22 here, can't remember. This particular aircraft, built by a North American company at Miners Field. Anyone know where Miners Field is? The designate for miners? Well, I'll tell you, it's LAX, it's Los Angeles. You pop down to Mexico, return to the United States, having multiple owners in Mexico. Designated now the L-17 and wearing the colours that she would have worn in the United States Army if she'd been in the Korean War. Hello, David.
Interesting. Still no gear. Quite a way down the check. They do about quite a way down the check now. Now he's crabbing. There's a guy below the motor's ankle.
So Hurricane just checking in with air traffic. They'll be lining up very shortly. 1 minute's silence, which is traditional here at Gransden, and then the Hurricane will return to his display. And again, it'd be rude for me to be talking over them.
It could not be possible, so I think we should briefly give a quick round of applause to them to say thank you to everyone who's volunteered this weekend at Little Gransden. Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie, and please do thank. Do we know how much we raised yet for Children Need this year?
I'll come back to you in about half hour.
Thought you might.
When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. The blessing of God Almighty, Son, and the Holy Spirit be with you.
Razorback, I think. Yeah. Razorback. Well, everything. I think we've got to look it up. But if you look it up, it's the only on the the rings on a lot of them as well.
I tell you, she's awesome. So what I did was I went and had a look and I walked out down the cell, all these prisoners were new, they were laughing, these things, so he was meant to get the full table laughing at me. So I gave him the stick, I said, you can do that bloody roll, set a lift down in there. There's the stick back with it down and pull it back down the roll. Off you go, boy. And that's what I did with him. And they all started laughing.